Cold air bit at Ur's skin. Morning had not yet warmed the valley, and frost clung in brittle lace to the long grass. Each breath steamed from his mouth in slow, pale ghosts. He did not notice the cold. Hunger filled him more completely than the chill ever could. Moved low through the grass, knees bent, back hunched, stone spear held tight in both hands. The shaft was smooth where his palms had worn it over many seasons. The tip was napped flint, sharp enough to split hide and sinew if his strike was true. His feet found the earth by memory. Soft ground. No snapping stems, no loose stones. The herd grazed ahead, shaggy, broad-backed shapes moving slowly through the mist. Their breath rose in slow clouds. Heavy bodies, slow bodies, food. Ur's stomach tightened. A low sound escaped his throat, half breath, half growl. He crept closer. Wind slid across the grass from the herd toward him. Good. They would not smell him yet. His eyes tracked movement. A limping bull at the edge, slower than the rest. Old, weak, perfect. Shifted his weight forward. The valley was quiet. Too quiet. No birds cried, no insects buzzed, the world held its breath. Froze. His body knew before his mind did. The hair along his arms lifted. A pressure settled behind his ribs, heavy and wrong. His nostrils flared, drawing in the cold air again. Something else was hunting. A scent drifted to him then, musky, thick, sharp with blood and rot beneath it. Not the herd, not the valley, a predator's scent. Turned his head slowly. The grass behind him rippled. Something large moved through it without sound. Tensed, muscles coiling. He shifted his grip on the spear, angling the point behind him as his eyes scanned the pale swells of frost-tipped grass. The ripple stopped. Silence. Then the grass exploded. A mass of muscle and striped fur burst from the ground in a blur of motion and teeth. The sabers flashed first, long, curved knives of ivory whipping toward Ur's throat. Threw himself sideways. The Smilodon crashed through the space he had occupied a heartbeat earlier. Its weight crushed the grass flat beneath it. Its paws tore up frozen soil in black sprays. A roar ripped from its chest, deep, thunderous, wet with rage and hunger. Hit the ground hard. The breath blasted from his lungs. Frost burned his skin as he rolled, scrabbling for his spear. The cat wheeled instantly, faster than anything that large should move. Its shoulders rolled like flowing stone. Its amber eyes locked onto with terrible precision. No warning. It charged again. Surged to his feet and ran. The world became motion and terror. Grass lashed his legs. Stones tore at his soles. His lungs burned as he sprinted downhill toward the clustered boulders at the valley's edge. Behind him, the Smilodon's roar came again, closer now. Heavy impacts shook the earth with every bound it took. Dared a glance over his shoulder. The beast was gaining. Its jaws gaped wide as it ran, steam pouring from its mouth. The sabers gleamed wetly as its lips peeled back from them. Its forepaws struck the ground in long, crushing strides that ate the distance between them. Veered suddenly toward a narrow cut in the rocks. The Smilodon followed without hesitation. The first contact came in the ravine. Leapt a fallen slab of stone. The Smilodon did not slow. Its chest slammed into the rock, shattering it with a crack like thunder. Stone shards flew. The impact staggered the beast for only a heartbeat, but that heartbeat was enough. Spun as he ran, driving the spear backward with everything he had. The flint tip struck fur and hide. It skidded along rib and muscle, cutting deep, but not deep enough. Dark blood burst free, hot against the frozen air. The Smilodon screamed. It swiped blindly, its paw catching across the back. Claws tore flesh. Pain detonated through him like fire. He stumbled forward, barely keeping his feet as warm blood poured down his side. He did not stop running. The chase deepened into the rocks. Behind him, wounded and enraged, the Smilodon surged on. Crashed through the narrow rock cut and into a field of broken stone. The ground dropped away in uneven shelves, each one slick with old frost and damp moss. He slid down the first ledge on his side, scraping skin from bone. Pain flared. He did not slow. He could not. Behind him, stone shattered. The Smilodon hurled itself after him. Its wounded side darkened the pale rocks with streaks of steaming blood. The cut had opened only drove it harder. Rage poured from it in sound and motion, low, rumbling snarls shaking from its chest as it bounded down the ledges with terrifying balance and force. Stumbled. His wounded back burned with every breath. Warmth ran down his flank and soaked his thigh. His hands shook on the spear. He reached the bottom of the stone field and burst into a stand of twisted trees, a dead place where lightning had once burned the earth black and left the trunks splintered and angled like broken teeth. Branches clawed at him as he ran. Smoke-scarred bark tore open the wound in his back again. His breath began to rasp. The Smilodon tore through the trees like a storm. One massive paw slammed into leg from behind. Bone did not break, but his knee buckled with a wet, snapping sound. Screamed for the first time. He crashed face first into the black soil, his spear flying from his hands. The Smilodon landed on him. Its weight crushed the air from his lungs. The world dimmed at the edges. Its hot breath blasted across his face, reeking of blood and meat. The sabers descended. Shoved upward with both arms as the fangs plunged past his neck and speared into the earth on either side of his skull. The impact drove his head into the dirt. Stars burst behind his eyes. The Smilodon wrenched its jaws free. Drove a fist filled with stone chips into its wounded ribs. The blow did nothing. The cat reared back and struck. Claws tore through shoulder and chest. Flesh split. A red curtain flooded down his side. Howled and thrashed blindly beneath the beast, hands scrabbling through dirt and ash. His fingers closed on stone. Not the spear. A broken rock. Sharp-edged. Heavy. The Smilodon lunged for his throat again. Drove the stone up into its mouth. The rock cracked against one saber and jammed deep between the cat's jaws. The impact shattered the tooth at its base. A shrill, gurgling scream tore from the Smilodon as its bite was wrenched wide and useless on one side. The pressure lifted. Crawled free. He dragged himself across the ground using only his arms. His injured leg trailed uselessly behind him. His vision swam. Blood poured from his shoulder and back in thick pulses. The Smilodon thrashed and shook its head, trying to free the broken stone from its mouth. Blood fountained from the shattered socket. It ripped the rock loose with a violent jerk that nearly tore its own jaw apart. Then it saw again. And it came. Slower now, but unstoppable. Reached the base of a fallen tree, ancient, huge, split lengthwise by age and weather. He hauled himself upright using the torn bark. His arms trembled violently, his chest fluttered with shallow, desperate breaths. His spear lay 10 body lengths away in the open ash field. Too far. The Smilodon advanced low and silent, its massive shoulders rolling fluidly. Its mouth hung partly open from the broken saber, blood spilling freely down its chin. One eye had begun to cloud from a burst vessel. It did not slow. Tore a long splinter of wood from the fallen trunk. It snapped free with a wet crack. The Smilodon lunged. Shoved the splinter forward with everything that remained in him. It punched into the cat's eye. The Smilodon shrieked, a sound of pure animal agony. It collided with and slammed him backward against the trunk. The splinter drove deep into its skull. It swiped wildly, claws raking ribs and opening him from chest to hip. Felt his body giving way. Blood ran in sheets now. The Smilodon tore free of the splinter and staggered back half-blinded, one saber shattered, one eye ruined, sides heaving. They faced each other, both dying. Saw his spear behind it, lying half-buried in ash. The Smilodon gathered itself for the last charge. Roared. He threw himself forward as the cat launched at the same instant. They collided in a storm of fur, blood, and bone. Rolled beneath its chest, beneath its destroying weight. He felt ribs crack beneath the pressure. He reached through the chaos for the spear. His hand closed on wood. He drove the flint upward. Once. The spear slid between ribs and sank deep into the cat's chest. Twice. Twisted the shaft sideways, shredding muscle and heart. The Smilodon convulsed violently. Its claws closed around torso in a final reflexive embrace. One saber raked his neck, opening a long burning trench that flooded instantly with blood. Then the cat shuddered and went still. The weight collapsed onto For a long time, there was only his breathing beneath the corpse, wet, broken, barely there. Then he pushed. The dead weight rolled away with a dull thud. Lay on his back, staring at the cold sky through the net of blackened branches above. Blood pooled beneath him, steaming in the frost. His vision narrowed to a tunnel. He would die here. The thought came without fear. Then hunger clawed again. Rolled onto his side. He screamed as his leg folded under him. He bit off the sound with his teeth. His hands shook violently as he dragged himself upright once more against the fallen trunk. The Smilodon lay a short distance away, its great body finally still. Its era ended in the ash. Did not look at it for long. He tore a strip of hide from his own wounded shoulder and pressed it clumsily against the gash in his neck. Blood soaked through instantly. He tied it anyway. He pressed his other wounds with trembling hands. The pain was everywhere now, bright and overwhelming. Slowly, so slowly, stood. One leg would not bear weight. He leaned on the spear like a crutch. Every step sent lightning through his chest and back. The world tilted and swayed. The trees drifted past him in slow, ghostly arcs. Began to limp away from the kill. Blood trailed behind him in dark drops that froze as they hit the ground. He did not look back. The valley swallowed him. Moved through the trees until the sounds of the valley were gone. Each step came slower than the last. His breath rattled wetly in his chest. The cold that had once meant nothing to him now crept inward, stealing strength with slow, deliberate fingers. Blood marked his path in a broken line through frost and soil. At the edge of the burned forest, the land sloped upward into pale grass and wind. The herd was long gone. Only the wide sky remained, vast and empty. Reached a cluster of standing stones half buried in the earth. Old even to him, shaped by hands long turned to dust. He leaned against one and slid down slowly, leaving a dark smear behind. He sat there a long while. The wind moved through the grass in slow waves. Clouds drifted like herds across the sky. Somewhere far away, another predator called and was answered. Lifted his head once, listening. A low sound left his throat. Not a word, not a cry, only breath and will. Then he pushed himself up again. Home, one step, then another. He vanished into the rolling grass, a limping shadow against the pale world, carrying fire in his chest and death in his blood. Behind him, the wind erased his trail. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And as always, have a wonderful day.